welcome to Beauty on a Budget, and to a slightly different video. I'm collabing today with my beautiful friend Susan, the little poet, and I feel really honoured to be doing this. Susan is a very dear friend of mine, and when I started my channel, I believe I've mentioned before, when I started my channel, she gave me a shout out when I had about 56 subscribers, right at the beginning, when I was so frightened, when I was so nervous to make films. I still get nervous, but nothing like I was. I'm quite happy in front of the camera, and because now I see it that I'm talking to you, but of course back then I didn't know who I was talking to. And yet she gave me a shout out. She was a bigger channel, and I really appreciate her for that. And she's been very supportive and very loving to me ever since. And she's a lovely lady. I'm sure you must know her, but if you don't, and again I will say, if you like the same sort of channels I like, I really think you're going to enjoy Susan's channel. She's very honest, she's very open, she's very much as it is. She laughs at herself. She's stunningly lovely, but she's not pretentious in any way. She will joke with you, she will joke about herself. She has a wonderful sense of humour, she has a wonderful warmth about her. She's very understanding, she's very deep, and I just really like Susan. I really admire her. And you know, again, she's one of those sorts of channels that I think maybe one day, you know, I could be at that level. Her filming, I'm sure I could never be at her filming. Her filming is absolutely unbelievable. In my opinion, my humble opinion, she makes, for the people I watch and I watch a lot of YouTube videos, I think her camera work stands out. She is absolutely amazing. And every video she makes is like a film, like a story. And she puts so much time and so much effort into it, and they are so enjoyable. I will link Susan's channel below. If you don't know her, if by some strange means you don't know her, please go over and see her. Okay, so the idea behind today's video actually comes from Susan. And I thought it was a great idea. It's something I must admit I would never have thought of on myself. And she's asked us how we feel as mature women if we take a movie that we watched long time ago and we re-watch it now, how we feel about that film. What did we see when we were younger, in our youth? What did we get from the film? What was our perspective on it? And now, what is it now? Has it changed? And I wanted to, a film came to mind. There's quite a few, to be honest, but one particularly came to mind, and I managed to repurchase it. And it's a very old film, older than me. But it's a film that I love and I've enjoyed, and I've watched it a couple of times more in the last couple of weeks, and I do really like the film. And what it is as I said, a very old film, and it's Celia Johnson and Trevor Howard, and a lot of you will know what it is already, and it's Brief Encounter. Now I managed to pick that up for £1.99, but it's a lovely film. It's a lovely film. But the difference, what did I see differently? And yes, I did. Surprisingly, as I said, if Susan hadn't brought this up, I don't think I would have ever thought about it or thought of the concept really, or my own feelings. But I watched it again, and I remember watching it when I was young, watching it with my mum. As I said, it's an older film. It was made in 1945. And it's awfully English, you know. They speak awfully posh to each other. Especially how she speaks really, hello, that kind of English. But a lot did then. In that day, a lot of the English film characters did that, but the story could be any social class. It could be anybody all over the world. This type of story would relate. And if you don't know the story, I'll give you a brief rundown of it, because it'd be nice if you could see it and you could watch it and you could let me know what you think. But I'm sure a lot of you have seen it. It's the story of a middle-aged housewife, and her husband's very successful, and she's a stay-at-home housewife, which, you know, in the 40s that was very much the case, wasn't it? And her husband goes to work. She looks after the home. They have a lovely home. And every Friday, she goes into town. She gets the train into town and she meets her pal, her friend. Or she might just go on her own and have a look round the shops and find anything she can't find near where she lives and so forth. So everyday life, very ordinary woman every day. Howard plays a doctor, a very charming, charismatic doctor. And he goes home, he works in town, and he goes home on a different train to her. But they meet on the platform. Something blows into her eye, and he can see her trying to get it out of her eye. And he comes up to her and says, "Can I help you? I'm a doctor. Is there anything I can do?" And he helps her. And they go into the cafeteria. Their trains are not due. They go into a cafeteria and have a cup of tea, and they start talking. And you can see from the very start the connection. You can see the attraction. You can see why. And looking at it from her, then you can understand it. You can understand it. It's a very famous romance. The relationship develops, and I won't tell you much more than that in case you haven't seen it. But the scruples and the morals of it are very decent. It's a very nice film. I don't want you to think it's one of these films that, you know, you can get now where everybody's having an affair with everybody else. It's not that sort of film at all. But when I saw it, when I was in my 20s, I'd say late teens, 20s, certainly at home with my mum, I saw this woman going into town and meeting this dashing doctor. And I thought it was so romantic. I loved it. I wooed them on, you know. And I saw things. I saw that, without doubt, I was sure that one day I was going to meet the charismatic doctor, you know, that I wouldn't have a life like my mum, who didn't have a very happy life at all. My father was very much a bully, and, you know, I wanted that for her too at the time. I wanted the charismatic doctor to come along. My mum needed a brief encounter. And that's what I saw. I saw this doctor as, you know, the type of man and the charm and the charisma, as I say, that every woman would want. And, you know, we were in the morning all the way through the film. I remember that because I saw it a few times with my mum. They don't actually, I can tell you, they don't actually end up together. And nothing unforeseen goes on between them. But there's certainly a huge connection at the heart. And they both fill a void in each other's lives. They both fill a void. And I can relate to that every day now. I can relate to that everyday housewife who is a good woman, who, you know, looks after her home and is a good partner and is loyal and true. But when she meets a sudden je ne sais quoi comes into her life, it's nice. It's a feeling that, you know, she's not being taken for granted, and that she is that special person. She's still got that. She's still got that. And I can understand that a lot. But as I said, when I was younger, I saw the doctor. I saw him as handsome and sort of person I wanted in my life. Going forward over 40 years, and I watch the film, and I see the husband. I see this man that goes to work, that's absolutely devoted to her, that is not quite as charismatic, he's not quite as handsome, but he adores her. His life is revolved around her and his family. He's loyal, he understands her, he knows when she's down, he knows when something's wrong, he knows her, he completely knows her, and he loves her for everything she is. When I first saw the film, I didn't even notice the husband. I didn't. I was rooting for this couple, for this, this romance, because I was and still am a huge romantic. But I was rooting for that, I didn't see him. To be honest, I didn't even notice him. Now I notice him more than I notice anybody else. He comes out of the screen much more than the handsome doctor. Although Trevor Howe's character is lovely, he's not a bad man by any means at all. He's not. He's a nice guy. But I noticed the husband, and now that's what appeals to me in my life. 40 years later, I no longer look for the dashing doctor. The attraction for me is to the loyal man who loves me, has supported me for years, never lies to me, doesn't cheat on me, doesn't do anything behind my back. He's 100% my friend, 100% on my side, accepts my idiosyncrasies. That's really attractive to me. That's really attractive. So that's what I see now. That's what I see now when I watch the film. And I think if I was watching it for the first time now, although I would understand her, and I do understand her, wanting that, boost in her life, wanting to feel less mundane. But I wouldn't be attracted to the doctor at all. If I was rooting now, I would be saying, please look at what you've got at home. Please see what you've got at home. I understand being, an older woman. I'm 64 and I understand that need. I'm still a woman. I still have all the feelings I always have. I still like to feel attractive. I still like to feel wanted. I still want to be special in somebody's life. I don't want the doctor anymore. And I would be rooting for her, and I would be saying, please see what you've got at home. Please see this lovely man that does everything for you and lives for you. I would be rooting for her, for their marriage. Isn't it funny? I think my experience in my life it's made me come to that conclusion. But I could never see that back then. Like I said, when I watched it the first time, the first few times, I don't think I ever saw the husband at all. I just saw this dashing doctor, and I wanted my mum to have a dashing doctor. She'd been treated badly for years, and she was a genteel woman, and I wanted that. I wanted a knight in shining armour to take her away, and I wanted that for my future, But no, I don't see that now. I just see this lovely loyal man. Isn't it funny? Isn't it funny how life's circumstances make you see things through completely different eyes? I think I'm so glad Susan suggested this, because it's nothing I would have thought of off my own back. She comes up with wonderful ideas. And I can't wait to see Susan's video and to share things with her. She's just a great gal, Susan and I have walked very similar paths, Sometimes when you see somebody and you get on with them and you're friends with them and you grow to love them and they're lovely, and I've got people like that in my life. I have. And I'm very fortunate. The friends that I have are very loyal and very good, and God's blessed me with some really lovely friends. But one of the things that I felt with Susan right at the start is when she used to do her videos, before I really knew her, I'd watch her, and I've always been loyal to her channel. I enjoy her videos very much. And I used to watch her, and I don't know if you've ever thought, I can see you, I can see where you're coming from, I get you. Even if she wasn't talking about certain things that had happened in her life, the way she would bring up situations, the way she would portray things, I just had that feeling, that connection that I know you, I know where you're coming from, I get you. Do you ever feel like that with someone that you've not met, that you know, you don't really know? Because I've never met Susan yet. I've never met Susan, but I felt a connection with her, and I do really admire her, and I can't wait to see what she puts in her video. So please go over and watch Susan's video. And also, is there a film that you feel like that about? Have you ever seen Brief Encounter? I know it's an English film. What did you think of the story? Have you got a film that maybe you watched years ago and you think now, oh, I see that so differently? I'd really be interested if you shared that with me. That theme, that film, I've seen a couple with the same kind of story coming from the same place that's quite touched my heart too. And one of them is called Falling in Love, and that's with Meryl Streep and Robert De Niro. Same kind of thing again. And the other one was with Robert Redford, and I can never think of this lady's name. Is it Kristen Scott Thomas, I think. And it's called The Horse Whisperer. And that again comes from the same sort of place. So if you like those sort of stories and sentiments, I think you'll like The Horse Whisperer, and I think you'll like Falling in Love. But I'll list those below anyway, so that you know, you can have a look at those, and I'll see if I can find this anywhere else. I did find it on Amazon, but it's I managed to actually find this in the high street. But it's a very famous film, so I guess it's still, you know, that's why it's still around. But I hope you enjoyed it, and please share your thoughts with me. I'd love to hear them, and please go over and see my Susan. I'll speak to you soon. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye now. Bye.